you guys were talking about Brady. If indeed he went to Bruce Arians, Arians would have to change his entire offense. He sends out everybody, doesn't keep tight ends, running backs in the block.
Right.
He's got a mediocre offensive line. To me, the Raiders, if he's going to leave there, the Raiders would be ideal, assuming Phillip Rivers goes to Indianapolis to be reunited with Frank Reich and Nick Sirianni. But the Raiders have everything but a really good wide receiver, and with their first pick in the first round, they would have their choice, maybe of all three, possibly with the top two, after somebody like Arizona took CeeDee Lamb.
There's no question that the Raiders are set up with 2 first-rounders. Again, they're ready to cashier in the last from the Bears for Khalil Mack. And they had Mayock pulling the trigger on it last year, and he found a ton of young players that did so well from obviously Jacobs in the first round. Abram would have been had he been healthy. Max Crosby later in the draft. Hunter Renfrow as well. Farrell at the very top. So there is all of that there for Tom. Why not New England? Though, John, from based on what you're hearing?
Could be money, could be a commitment of more than 1 year, could be that he's concerned about the talent. He could lose 2 offensive linemen in free agency. You know, they've tried to bring in receivers, Josh Gordon, Antonio Brown. They backfired. Kill Harry's going into his second year. Who knows how he'll turn out, really. Haven't replaced the Gronk. He doesn't have the kind of talent on that offense that he could get from a team like the Raiders, if indeed the Raiders were interested in Brady. And, of course, that would mean they trade Derek Carr. But everybody's talking about Tennessee. I know Tennessee wants to re-sign Ryan Tannehill. And if indeed he doesn't, if he prices himself out of their market, then they can go ahead and play Brady and hope he can come in there and have a chance to win a championship over the next 2 years.
You put any credence in the 49ers as a possible landing spot, John?
Rick, let me ask you this. Jimmy Garoppolo misses 2018 with a torn ACL. He comes back. He helps them go to the Super Bowl. People say, well, I've read this and heard this, Rich. Boy, Brady would have made those plays at the end to beat the Chiefs. Brady didn't make plays at the end to beat the Titans at home. So I'm sure Tom Brady would be great for them for a couple of years, but they're committed to Garoppolo. I'd be stunned if Kyle Shanahan pulled off the deal where he signed Brady and maybe they trade Garoppolo back to New England.
So handicap it for me. 1 week from tomorrow, new league year opens up. Where do you think Brady goes?
I'm going to say I'm handicapping. He goes back to New England 1, Raiders 2nd, Titans 3rd.
What about the Chargers? You don't think they're in the mix?
Their offensive line is awful. The last place he needs to go is some team that has an offensive line that needs to be totally redone.
What about the idea you don't want to go in Mahomes' division right now? What about that idea?
I can't imagine Tom Brady would care about that. He's the greatest of all time. He'd probably like a chance to show Mahomes it's kind of like the old gunslinger. Wants one last rodeo, show him who's boss. But I think the problem with the Chargers, other than the fact people don't care about them in L.A., is their offensive line. Brady has got to have a good offensive line. That's imperative.